This shot was very successful establishing the location, even though the shot was a bit shaky itself. The match on action here is smooth as the movements are edited well to make it seem realistic, as though they were filmed straight after each other continuously. This eyeline match was successful. The only problem is that the tripod is in the shot, so I made sure when filming my opening sequence that the tripod was out of shot at all times. Also, in this shot, the character looks directly at the camera. This slightly ruins it as it makes it less realistic. I tried to make my character didn't do this in my opening sequence, but there was one shot where the character does look at the camera when she's about to fall over, which does make that little bit of the opening a little less realistic. Also here you can see the character standing near the door, who is in fact supposed to be sitting down on the bench, which you see in the next shot. For this reason I made sure the continuity was realistic and correct when filming my opening sequence. The match on action here is really good and smooth, as it shows the character texting from several different shots. It's realistic and believable. The shot reverse shot here is very successful, as it shows the emotions and reactions of each character. Although these shots were successful in the characters talking, I think the editing speed should have been increased to build up more tension and relate to the situation more, as the characters don't like each other and they're having an argument here. You can see the tripod in this shot and this one, which isn't a big error, and I made, as in the eyeline match, it's shown, so I made sure in none of my shots the tripod is in the back of the shots, because it really ruins it and it takes away the professionalness of it. And also in this shot you can see there's two people standing in the background. This it's not very noticeable, but you can tell they're there. So in my opening sequence I made sure there was no characters in the background that weren't supposed to be. The shots we had to use in our preliminary task were the 180-degree rule, match on action and shot reverse shot. In my opening sequence I used 2 out of the 3 shots. I used the 180-degree rule and match on action. I used the 180-degree rule to establish the geography of the scene and also to correctly orientate the viewer with the action of the character. Although having only one person in my opening sequence doesn't have the need for this rule, as when she falls over it is shown from the same side. I definitely used match on action successfully in this opening, as the continuity flowed well, as I used many medium shots to then close-up shots to show the character moving or her emotions changing. I thought these were particularly successful when my character was turning around and looking over her shoulder, especially when I used a medium shot to then a close-up of her face, and then in one case I used an extreme close-up of her eyes to show the emotion she was feeling, and the fact she was looking really loads for this mysterious character who she thought was following her. I also thought it was successful where I used 2 medium shots when she fell over, one of her from the waist up when she was about to fall, and another from the ground. I thought these were really effective and realistic. The reason I didn't use shot reverse shot was because I only included one character in my opening sequence, which meant I didn't need to show any of the characters talking to each other, or show what they were saying or reacting to what the other one was saying. If I was to include more characters in my opening sequence, I would have definitely used this shot to show the characters talking, and also to make the audience aware of their situation and the emotions they were giving out. And from conducting my preliminary tasks to then moving on to my opening sequence, I had developed many skills. Some particular ones was, I think my editing hasn't improved a lot, as it was the first time I'd used Final Cut and any Apple Macs to complete any type of editing or any of the producing the titles and stuff. I thought I've definitely improved a huge amount, and I've gained lots of skills in how to edit and also different techniques
As well as these, I've also learnt the importance of blogging. Blogging has kept me up to date, definitely, of what to do and when to do it. Without blogging, I think I would have done things a lot more slower, and I probably would have lost a lot more things, because if I had to come do that all on paper, it's very difficult to keep track of everything and file it. See, if it's online, it's a lot easier, as you can create menus and stuff, so it's easy to navigate around your blog to find what you need to know. Like, when I was doing my story synopsis and my story opening, I referred back to that quite a lot. So I made sure that I stayed on target and I filmed the right thing, and just generally to see how I've progressed as well, also to show me improving. And that was very important when I was, after I'd done my first edit and I was going on to my final edit, I used my blog a lot, because I'd blogged my audience feedback of what I needed to change, and I constantly kept referring back to it to make sure I was making the right improvements. So definitely blogging, I've learned a very good skill there, as I think I've been quite successful in my blogs, as I've stated what I was going to change and what I needed to change, quite straight to the point.